What is going on, everybody? Anon here, and happy Sunday evening. Week 1 of the NFL season is in the books, except for tomorrow night's game. It is time for this week's Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and we'll hit some of the other indie TCGs distribution updates. So coming this week, we have these Team Rocket tins coming out, which are quite honestly amazing. The artwork's amazing. I'm sure the promos are going to get eaten up and they're going to run through the roof like everything else right now, which is absolutely batshit crazy. And there's 3 Destined and 2 Journey Together tins. So it is actually quite a good product here. So that being said, let's go through. And I think I mentioned I was at one of the distributors offsites this past week. It was really, really awesome. Nice to meet people and have face-to-face conversations with Bandai, with Wizards Coast, with Pokemon. So I had some really cool information. I did a video on that last night. So if you're interested in hearing what's up, hit that there. Bo Jackson Battle Arena. I know I've mentioned this a couple times. I pay a little bit of attention to it because I do have some interest in sports, not just TCGs. And there does seem like there's a reasonable amount of crossover here with the on-card autographs. I'm not saying buy it, don't buy it, but it's interesting enough to, at the very least, keep an eye on. Now, from a TCG perspective, no idea how to play it, nor do I care. But either way, we will see. Flesh and Blood. Some of you may know, if you care, the entire SummerSlam set was spoiled somewhere in Europe. Product was somehow acquired. The set was spoiled to everybody in a foreign language. I don't know which foreign language it was. The creator of the company, who has fucked up quite a few things in the past, decided to go on a expletive-laden rant, and I don't know. The rest is history. So I'm not really sure where it goes from here, but it'll be interesting to see with everybody now asking for those boxes to see if it falls flat or not. The one thing I do want to mention is it does seem like they're reprinting a lot of cards and they are smashing the value of older boxes. So that's one of the reasons why I hate Flesh and Blood, because the legacy sealed product has no value. So unless you're churning and burning and you're dumping the product as quickly as you can, effectively playing hot potato, it is a loser. It's just the way it is, the way the game's currently set up. So Godzilla card game, something that most people don't care about. Our folks actually liked the first set. The second set comes out in the end of October. So that'll be interesting. Did get a couple cases in from Magazine Exchange, but everybody else, as far as I know, are sold out. I actually ordered some more because I had some demand for it. Moving on. Gundam. So spoke to the Bandai folks, and they are full speed ahead with Bandai, One Piece, 4 sets a year, plus all the starters, plus all the other stuff. And they are laser focused on building out organized play. Allocating product only to stores that run events. And, they haven't gotten to the point where you can't get product if you don't run events, but they are laser focused on making sure that the allocation, this is fascinating, is only going to folks that are helping the game, not enriching some of the 800-pound gorillas. Now, that doesn't mean things don't get leaked out from the different distributors, but that's what the plan is. They're also behind on printing. If those of you who don't know, they OP12, and then the first Gundam set, GD01. I guess the lettering conventions are still confusing me, but whatever. They came out in 2 waves. So with OP12, there's a second wave coming out in a week or 2. The second wave of Gundam came out over the last couple weeks. That's why everybody's seeing an influx of product on TCG Player. And there's some softness in the pricing right now. I mean, softness if it's $165 a box on something that's $5 MSRP times 24 packs. So, 122, 124, whatever the number is, ends up being. Is what it is. Riftbound. I did get my allocation from my OP store this week. I was pleasantly surprised. It's not 100% of what I asked for, but it is on the higher end of what I had hoped for. That being said, the amount of Riftbound League of Legends boxes is going to be extremely tight. And from what I can tell, it's approximately about what came out for Gundam. And the reason for that is UVS isn't used to printing at this scale. The rest of their games are infinitely smaller than this. So if you get the product is going to have a lot of value in the secondary market. At least that's what I'm saying. So it is what it is. Lorcana, these folks were actually out there. I didn't really speak to them because, again, I don't have a whole lot of interest in the game. We are organized play. We got nothing for Fabled, even though we do run events. Which, again, doesn't really hurt my feelings because most of these sets you got to pay $90 for. All the big online sellers are selling them for $100, and there's just no money to be made. So let's see. That being said, Sorcery, I'll mention this again. There is still no word on the October set. It is now 24 days from October. So, again, dead game's dead. They can't get out of their own way. But we'll see. Okay, moving on to Weiss, otherwise known as Weiss Schwarz. This is super fascinating. So we have Azure Lane Volume 2 coming out, and we know that the orders across distribution were very sizable. It's probably the largest order book of all time that Weiss has ever had for a set. My understanding is it's probably about 3 times what it was for Nikki, at least from the main distributors. What I don't know is through the other folks that are buying direct that aren't any of the big 4. I can't imagine that their order book's that much larger, but I know with the big 4, it's approximately 3 times what it was for Nikki. Now we'll see what happens because Nikki Wave 1 was on fire. Nikki Wave 2 came out, and there's a little bit of excess product dumped on the market. But what we'll see. And if you guys have paid any attention to TCG Player, and again, this product doesn't like the gaming folks that shop on TCG Player are not the audience that generally buys Weiss products. It's more folks that like the IP, they like the cards. It's a little bit of a weird space, and I've been getting educated on this from a couple friends. There were about 3,500 booster boxes on TCG Player, selling through about 60 boxes a day. That number in the last couple of days is now down to like 2,800, 2,700. One seller has 1,500 boxes listed at $75. We're approximately 500 boxes shy of Weiss being back to $70, $75. Now, then there's going to be a large wall of product that has to get eaten up, but it's $75 a box, 24 boxes per case. You guys can do the math. You're north of $1,600, $1,700 a case. Now, there are a lot of cases listed out there, but it effectively, the folks that know how the Weiss world works have held on to their product. And when all of the folks who got into this because they saw giant cartoon boobs and they wanted to make a quick buck, and they're going to get smashed because they're going to sell this stuff as quickly as they can for liquidity, etc. Once that works through the system, then you're going to have a high demand quality product that people want that is going to appreciate in value. And we're probably 2 months away from these boxes going from sub 50, 48, 49, whatever they are now, back to a 7 handle on the boxes. And then everybody will be happy. I would imagine the same thing's going to happen with Azure Lane 2. And then the other one that I want to mention, because this was, in my opinion, severely underordered again, Freerun. So I am not an anime fan. I watched a couple episodes of Freerun. It's actually quite interesting. It's a little bit more, what's the word? I don't want to say intellectual because that's the wrong term. It's less childish. It's made for adults. The story's kind of interesting, but it's one of those where it's not like this is absolutely terrible. I got to turn it off. Like One Piece, quite honestly. You guys can crucify me, but I am not the target audience for One Piece. But from what I'm told is the Freerun orders are maybe 15% of what they were for Nikki. And this is the reprint. So this is the silver boxes. The gold cases are like $4,000 now. So this is a set where it's severely underordered. The second season is coming out in January 2026. When that season hits, these boxes are going to be effectively dried up off the market. And this thing should potentially have plenty of tailwind. and go nuts. So Weiss is weird because you kind of have to pick and choose what IPs you look at. Like there's a lot of IPs here that I don't know anything about, nor does anybody else. And if nobody that I sell to knows the IP, guess what? They're not going to buy it unless it's something called Pokemon. So speaking of, actually, let's go to Magic first. We'll end with Pokemon because there's a lot of stuff to catch up on. Magic the Gathering. So Spider-Man comes out in a couple weeks. No serialized cards. Avatar comes out not until November. But we have this weird WPN process now where they are providing an early allocation of a will not be less than to allow stores to pre-sell product, which is kind of strange. I don't know. I should have asked this question, like what the theory was behind doing that, other than, you're not going to sell something and then get screwed. You at least have a certain level of certainty. I can't imagine that the reason is that what's the word that helpful to stores, because it doesn't always work that way. It's generally of some benefit to WotC. But we'll see. So we have Lorwyn, and Lorwyn came out last week, or I guess late the week before. The order date is 10 days from now. For Southern, it's right around there. So on the 26th, we're supposed to get the numbers of will not be less than from all of our distributors for Lorwyn. It's going to be super interesting to see if that basically gives all of the distributors a license to only give you that much and then take the rest as a second wave and mark everything up and basically rip face, make as much money as they can, or if there is going to be a second wave of allocation that comes out once the dust settles based on actual spend. I think it's going to vary by distro. I think we all know the distros that are going to take advantage of the situation and the ones that may not. Now, in the Magic world, I don't know what that looks like, because I think everybody would potentially take advantage of the situation. But again, I don't want to guess. Remains to be seen. Hopefully there's more product that comes out where we don't have any upcharging for product that we should have gotten in the first place. So that being said, we still have no news on a holiday set. It looks like the March set is most likely going to be the Return to Strixhaven set. My guess, because again, they have a year-over-year comparison with the Final Fantasy set. If they're going to do a Harry Potter set, that's going to be it. But we'll see. Because remember, you have the March set, March/April, and then you have the June set, which is, for this year, it was Tarkir and the Final Fantasy slot. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully Lorwyn has serialized cards back in the collector box. By the way, for those of you who don't know, the draft night, this is the gift bundle. It is 1 collector pack and 12 play packs, not 9. So just so you guys are aware who watch the channel here, because that is a completely different nomenclature. So Pokemon. What isn't going on with Pokemon? So we have the tins that come out this week. I have to scroll down like 30 some items. Calendars are out. The Team Rocket tins come out this week. Then we have on the 26th, we have the first wave of Mega. The second wave is supposed to come out 3 weeks later. But then on 10/10, we have the Build and Battle. And then nothing until we have... No, that's not true. So in October, so right around 10/10, we are going to have the Salamence and Reshiram boxes that are store exclusives. There are a bunch of those. And then we have the Latias EX box that has the big card that's reminds me of one of the Sportflix cards from like 1989, 1990, with the old school 3D as you turn the card. For those of you my age, you know what that means. For those of you who don't, you're probably lucky you've never seen that garbage, but that's a different conversation. Not to say this is garbage, but the Sportsflix cards from back in the day were interesting, very innovative. So we have the Team Rocket's Mewtwo deck, the Lucario EX figure collection. So this is a prismatic figure collection. This is going to be super, super heavily allocated. And then we have Mega 2. So this was initially supposed to be released November 7th. last week they changed everything worldwide, I should say, to 11.14. They're having challenges keeping up in printing, and they're printing so much product. Most folks just aren't seeing it because it's being dispersed everywhere. I mean, you got Ace Hardware, you have Dick's fucking Sporting Goods, you have all these places that have no business with this. It's kind of obscene. And then they're printing all these EX boxes. They continue to push the shit out of all of the Blooming Waters. And then they're pushing a lot of stuff through MJ Holdings and Excel that doesn't go through the normal distribution route. So, presumably that's where a lot of these big stores are getting their product from. So it's a little bit of a disaster right now. I did talk to the rep briefly from Pokemon and just said, hey, is there any reason why you're not printing booster boxes or booster bundles and you're going with these 5x5, the 10-pack EX boxes all over the place? And he kind of looked at me, and he's a super nice guy, but he kind of stuttered a little bit. He's like, well, we have some booster bundles coming out for Surging Sparks now. And, and the rest of the conversation was kind of noise. So I think he knew that I knew that they're getting away from the booster boxes. I am expecting some more ETB reprints at some point in time, similar to what we've seen with Twilight Surging. And this person did confirm that the reason why we are seeing more is all the ETB printing in the UK was transitioned to the Netherlands. It's going to be interesting. I would anticipate the Mega Evolutions 1 ETB when it comes out to only say printed in the Netherlands, not to say printed in the United States and Netherlands. So that being said, we have Phantasmal Flames 2, the smallest set in a long time. Let's get into some of the interesting stuff. I want to type out the Mega Charizard EX UPC, but I want to do that last. So Venusaur Premium Collection, Mega Kangaskhan EX Collection, a good number of these coming out, similar to the Reshiram and the Latias. So they're just printing their shit out of these. The Pokeball tin and the Collector Chest, again, a good amount of these coming out, which is interesting. I have no idea what the packs are, but it seems like the packs and a lot of this stuff are newer packs. They're not really pulling any older packs out outside of the UPCs. And by the way, the Team Rocket Moltres looks like it's going to be a GameStop exclusive, similar to the Greninja, that blue box that's like $400 now, even though there's not a damn thing that's special about it other than its blue box. So that brings me to the Mega Charizard EX Ultra Premium Collection. So my understanding is they have been printing this since March or April of this year. They knew what the demand's going to be, and they've been printing the living shit out of it. Now, I've seen some of the numbers that some of that distribution is getting, and they're large numbers. They're not as large as printing for April, May, June, July, 5 months, which kind of just lends more credence to the fact that they are capped out with their printing. But they're probably 2.5 to 3 times more than what the super premium collection for Prismatic was when we got that back in, what was that, May timeframe. So, unfortunately, the UPC is going to come out. It's going to be a $300 to $350 product because the promos are going to go nuts. The pack mix is really awesome. It looks like it's Mega 2, Mega 1, Destined, Surging, and Journey Together. Whereas the Team Rocket Moltres, from the picture, it looked like it was going all the way back to 2 packs of every set through Destined Rivals. However, there's 1 pack of Paldea Evolved and SV Base. Oh, no specialty sets, just regular sets. So there are going to be a lot of these out, which is good. And again, here we go. Here's the picture. So yeah, here we can see 4 Phantasmal Flames, 4 Megas here. Here you have the 4 Destined, the 4 Journey, and 2 Surging Sparks. This is the promo. There is also a second promo that they have not released yet. A cool playmat. The second promo, let's see if they mention who it is here. Yeah, Oricorio EX. So these are exclusive promos. You can't really see it on the card here. Oop. I can't blow this up anymore, but it is a Black Star promo. So that'll be something that everybody wants. So anyway, guys, I know it's a lot, but it's a big update. There's a lot coming. Pokemon's trying to get everything in before the end of Thanksgiving or before Thanksgiving. But it looks like a lot of these boxes are going to push into the first or second week of December. And that's not something that happened in 2024. So they're trying to cram as much in as they can. I would imagine we're going to get the specialty set at some point in time. That's going to come out in, second, third week of January. And then we're going to get Mega 3 in March. So, time marches on. Oh, and we got 30th anniversary there. How could I forget that? Absolutely crazy times. The market is not slowing down. These guys are printing as much product as they can. And it doesn't matter because the market's just shredding it. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and we'll talk soon.